Hello and welcome to another video from Mindful Measures. I'm Josh Freidenberg. Thank you for joining us today. We're coming to you from the beautiful island of Kauai. So if you hear the waves in the background or the roosters, just bear with us a little bit. Today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about selective perception, where it comes from, what its primary purpose is, and how we can use that to change our thoughts, our perceptions, and ultimately our habits to be much more successful and get what we want out of life. The primary purpose for selective perception is to keep our brain from being overwhelmed. At any given moment, our brain is receiving millions of bits of information from all 5 of our senses. Think about it. At this very moment, there's smells that you can smell, sights that you're obviously seeing, such as this video, the sounds of me talking, but you're also feeling yourself in your chair. Now, whether you're cognizant of all of these things or not, is all a result of how effective your selective perception is at weeding out extraneous information. The key is what is extraneous information and how can we alter that to really key into what we want to focus on in our lives. It's so easy for us to understand how our perceptions influence our beliefs. Our beliefs shape our actions, and our actions affect our environment, and therefore, what we perceive. This cycle is so readily comprehended that we can see it playing out in many of our catchphrases. We've all heard the saying, seeing is believing, and what a man can believe he can achieve, which was made famous by Napoleon Hill. And many clinical psychologists are familiar with the downward spiral that results from the various forms of depression. But it's also important to note that many of the world's most successful people use this cycle to create truly amazing lives. What's less well known is that the perception, belief, action cycle flows the other direction as well. What? That's right. Our beliefs affect our perceptions. Our perceptions charge our actions, and our actions reinforce our beliefs. So let's look at this in closer detail. Starting with the first leg of the cycle, beliefs influencing our perceptions. Have you ever seen 2 people watch a political speech or newscast and come away with completely different takes? I've seen this happen so extremely that it's hard to believe that the 2 people were even watching the same thing. So how is this possible? Simply put, while we may be watching the same program, our belief structures are serving as a filter, causing us to emphasize some details while ignoring or at least discounting others. And since we all have unique combinations of beliefs, it's likely that our perceptions will differ also. The point is this: our beliefs serve as a filter that influence what we perceive. The next leg of the cycle is how our perceptions affect our actions. Now, this is the leg of the cycle that I'm most often challenged on. And I have to admit that it's a very valid claim that our perceptions affect our actions only in as much as what our belief structures accept about our observations. However, we notice that many of our reactions occur as a result of subconscious beliefs. In fact, the deeper or more subconscious the belief is, the shorter the time between the observation and the reaction. And in most cases, the belief is so unconscious and the time between perception and action is so instantaneous that considering the belief as a separate, distinct phase is superfluous. We can use instincts as an example. If we see something large flying towards our head, we're automatically going to duck. We don't need to analyze our belief that large items hitting us in the head is harmful or perhaps even deadly. We can make the jump from perception directly to action, just as our bodies did in their instinctual reaction. This is important because it allows us to reprogram our reactions without needing to even address the beliefs. Now let's look at action shaping our beliefs. I want to use an example that's familiar among addiction specialists. We notice that as a drug user continues to abuse drugs or alcohol, they begin to adopt a belief that their misuse of drugs or alcohol is inevitable. It's important to note that it's not the perception of the drug use that generates this belief, because our perceptions are already being altered by the drug use itself. It's the action itself, or the active thinking of the drug use, that shapes the belief of addiction. And this phenomenon is not isolated to drug use or alcohol use alone.
Most of our frequently repeated actions directly influence what we believe about ourselves and others. For instance, I help others, therefore I'm generous. Or, I read nightly, therefore I'm smart. I smile to others, therefore I'm friendly and outgoing. These are all examples of actions affecting our beliefs, irrespective of the perceptions.
Our brain does several things as it goes throughout the day. One, it tends to look for things that are different, and that's where selective perception really comes into play. It picks out the things that we see every day repetitively, and it tends to generalize those into a common file. But those things that stand out, that's what we can use. So one of the primary things we want to do with our positive affirmations is to notice when our selective perception is starting to key in on the negative things and notice all of the little minutiae that are going wrong in our lives and direct that towards the positive and noticing the things that are going right. That way we can lift our emotional state and really drive our peak performance to achieve results. On behalf of Mindful Measures and the beautiful island of Kauai, I'm Josh Freidenberg. Thank you for joining us. I would encourage you to check out all our other videos, join us on Facebook and YouTube, and in the meantime, have a great day.